Tonight is November 10th, 2024. I very often don't give pre-plan my Dharma talk, or sometimes I do. I didn't really have time, or I didn't take the time to think about a Dharma talk tonight. I think we're all over the place. It's possible we're all over the place this week. So instead, I was like, you know what? I've got very little content in my mind as far as what to talk about for the Dharma talk. So I pulled a card from one of my favorite oracle decks. I'll show you the deck, Gaia. And when I opened the box, I put the cards out and there was one card stuck in the box. So of course I naturally looked at that card like, oh, I'm just curious what that was. And I loved it. And I was like, oh, that's our card. But then I felt like I cheated because I didn't like shuffle and like spend time. So then I did shuffle and I spent time with the cards and the same card was picked. So I was like, see, there you go. And the card is called Rising Above, and it's a white dove. And the three words on the bottom are clarity, freedom, and solution. You guys can see that well. And I don't usually read, but I think tonight's a good night. And then the card came back twice. So Rising Above. The white dove depicted on this card flies high above the earth and is able to see things from a higher perspective. She suggests that you do the same. You cannot do this physically, but you can do it mentally by disconnecting emotionally from the present situation. No matter what the situation is, stop thinking about it. You are currently too close to see things clearly. A simple solution exists. This will become clear to you once you let go. Stop focusing on this situation for a while. Bring your awareness within. Close your eyes. Relax, meditate, surrender, let go. Take a walk in the park, dance, have fun. Do whatever it takes to detach from things for a while, and the solution will become obvious when the time is right. I think that's pretty good. Pretty fits lots of situations. So on that note, let's get ourselves ready for meditation. You can keep your cameras on or turn them off. It's whatever you're comfortable with. When we do come back together, that's when I like our cameras back on. And then before you even close your eyes, as you're getting yourselves situated, I want you to just pause and reflect on the day that you had from the moment you woke up. And kind of go gently fast forward in your mind throughout the day. What did you do or didn't do? Who did you see to connect with? Just review your day in your mind. And when you get yourself up to the moment where you sat down for meditation, you can go ahead and close your eyes if you haven't already. When you close your eyes, take a nice deep breath. And exhale. And feel your body in your seat, just as you are right here, right now. And feel the seat completely supporting you. And allow your body to rest on your seat. In other words, allow your seat to support you. Let yourself get heavy in your chair or the floor, wherever you are. And just allow yourself to notice the rhythm of your breath. You don't have to try to change it. Instead, just notice the rhythm, the tempo, the depth of your breath. And on your next exhale, just imagine any negativity or any stress or tension, anything that you just don't want to carry in this moment. Imagine you're exhaling that out and imagine all of that is falling away to the floor, almost like pebbles or boulders just releasing out of your body. We'll gently do a body scan starting at the top of our head. Just be aware of your forehead, your temples. Become aware of your cheeks and eye sockets and eyelids. Become aware of your jaw, your ears, the back of your head. Bring awareness to your teeth, your lips, your tongue. Become aware of your throat and neck, your collarbones, your shoulder blades. Become aware of both shoulder sockets. Allow your arms to hang down heavy from your shoulder. And trace the line of energy from your shoulders to your elbows, and then from your elbows to your wrists, and then your wrists through each finger. Become aware of your chest, your heartbeat, and feel your lungs as they expand and contract with every breath. Become aware of your upper back, your mid back, your lower back. Become aware of your rib cage, and your solar plexus, and your abdomen. Become aware of your pelvis, your hips, joints where your legs meet your hips and pelvis. Become aware of the line of energy from your hips to your knees, and then from your knees to your ankles, and from your ankles to the bottoms of your feet and out your toes. Notice your breath. Feel the cool air as it goes in through your nostrils. Notice the warm air as you exhale. And allow yourself to become aware of the space between your ears. And bring your attention to the space in front of your body, to the farthest wall in front of you. Just become aware of that space in between the wall and the front of your body. And become aware of the space between the back of your body and the wall behind you. And become aware of the space between your left side and the wall to your left. And become aware of your right side and the wall to your right. Become aware of the space between the top of your head and the ceiling. Become aware of the space of your bottom down to the earth. So where you're sitting in your seat, and the space from your seat down to the earth. Bring your awareness to the space inside your mouth. And become aware of yourself in relation to the four walls, the ceiling, and the floor of you in your room right now. And then using your imagination, I want you to imagine, maybe you want to even put one hand on your heart if that feels right for you. Maybe put both hands on the heart. And just feel or imagine the sensation of your hands pressing against your heart. And feel the warmth and the connection from you to yourself. Allow your own hands to help you feel safe or secure, loved, held, calm. And feel the rise and fall of your chest, your hands pushing against your heart. And just gently, mindfully, just ask yourself, what is it that I need in this moment? And just listen for the response. Maybe it's words, maybe it's a feeling, maybe it's an I don't know, maybe it's nothing, all is well in this moment. You can allow your hands to drop back on your lap or by your side, or keep them on your heart, whatever feels best for you in this moment. Notice your breath. Using your imagination, begin to imagine that there's a door right in the center of your chest, right at your heart. And imagine you can look down to your chest and you can see this door opening. Or maybe you're imagining yourself looking in a mirror, watching the door of your heart open. And as that door opens, whatever viewpoint you're seeing it from, imagine that as it opens, behind those doors, there's a brilliant, bold, thick light beginning to pour out of your chest. See if you can notice a color, or if it's pure white, gold, silver. Imagine that the more you open the door to your heart, the more light pours out. And allow yourself to imagine how it feels for that light to pour out of your heart and sort of bathe yourself in that light. So the light from the heart is so bright, it's illuminating the room you are in. Your room becomes like a container, almost like a fish bowl. And instead of a fish, you're you. And instead of the water, there's just light. And you're bathed in the light. Imagine that light is allowing any old heartbreak, any sort of discouragement or sadness, any emotions that need and want to be released from your body. Just imagine them flooding out through the light. And the energy of those emotions, because they're so dense, they just fall to the floor. They go right through your floor, right into the earth. And as you're aware of this light from your heart, just imagine that the more aware of the light you become, the larger the light is. That light is not only beaming outward, but it is also soaking every single cell of your body. And imagine it becomes hard to distinguish the inside of your body from the outside, because your whole being just blends into the light. Let your body quite literally evaporate into the light. And since the room is light and you are light, there's no beginning and no end to you. Just experience yourself as awareness. There's nothing physical in the room to bring your attention to. Just allow yourself to be awareness, present in the light. You could decide what feels better, to be still awareness or stillness. You can decide to just sort of float and fly about the room or beyond the room and choose whatever feels better to you in this moment. And just allow yourself the experience of whatever you choose. And imagine the light is growing and it goes beyond the walls of your room. And imagine the light engulfs your home. And then that light grows larger and covers your street. Just begin to imagine the light expanding as far as you can imagine. Allow that light to continue to expand brighter and brighter, larger and larger. Using your imagination, imagine that different energies or aspects of energies, so it can be different people or different emotions or the energies of love, peace, the energies of hostility or anger. I want you to imagine different energies start to make their way into your energy field, that expansive ball of light, and consciously decide who or what is allowed to be in your energy field. And if someone or something does not feel right in your energy field, just practice saying no and allowing that energy to remain just outside your sphere of energy. And think of people you know, both physically living and deceased. You can invite in whomever you want and allow them in your energy field. And then allow your mind to wander. And it's perfectly okay to know who and what energies you want in your field and who and what energies you don't want in your field. And this isn't about judgment or intolerance. This is simply about becoming aware of what feels right to you and what does not feel right to you. Any energies that do not feel right for you, you don't have to abruptly send them away. Just imagine yourself just saying, no, thank you. No, thank you. Allow there to be softness in the no. Don't forget to invite in whomever and whatever you really want close to you. The energies you prefer not to have in your field does not make those energies bad or wrong. It simply makes you aware of what your energy field wants and how your energy feels. And it's coming from a loving place. It's loving to say no, loving to yourself, and loving to the energies that don't resonate with you. Begin to imagine or notice qualities within yourself that you truly love and admire. Imagine those qualities act like a fortress around your energy field, your expansive, glowing energy field. And imagine the qualities that you love and trust and admire about yourself act like the barrier, almost like the cell membrane of your energy field that helps keep all of your energy in, and any energy that simply doesn't resonate with you remains out. Allow yourself to feel the softness of maintaining your energy field, meaning you don't have to work hard to keep energies out. Just have to keep your focus of the energies you appreciate, love, and admire. And allow you to hold the awareness of this bubble in this space. And then gently bring awareness to yourself in your chair or your seat as you are right now. And keeping yourself aware of the expansiveness of your energy field. Become aware of your body and aware of your energy field. Come a little bit back, more back in your body, keeping your eyes closed, but wiggling your fingers and your toes. And then switch your focus to the expanded self, filled with the energies, people, both living and deceased, qualities of energy all around you and in you. To imagine that you can feel almost like a waterfall running through your body from your toes, running upward out of your head. Imagine there's a current of energy going from your feet through your whole body out the top of your head. Imagine you can feel the current running through your hands, your arms, torso, and your back, down both legs, up both legs. Just imagine your body as the energetic being that it is. And ever so gently, just float your eyes halfway open, still looking downward. Notice gently whatever you see, and feel the current in your body as your eyes are open. And gently close your eyes and feel that current again. And practice that one more time. Where you float your eyes halfway open, looking downward gently. And just be aware of yourself as the energetic being that you are, feeling the currents running through your body. And gently close your eyes and feel those currents again. Feel your fingers and your toes, keeping your eyes closed. Go ahead and stretch gently and twist and move your body if it needs any kind of movement. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come fully back into the Zoom. And only do this when you're ready. Sooner. Just pay attention to how you feel in this moment. Ready, you can turn your cameras back on to join the Zoom, or you can log off at any point. Sometimes I do think the conversation is very helpful, but other times you might just want to stay in a zone. So there's never any questions if someone logs off. And then as you're coming back to your cameras with a show of a thumbs up if you liked this. Liked it could be that you followed it and you went on the little journey. Thumbs down would be you didn't like it, and thumbs middle would be your so-so. So where's everybody with this one? Thumbs up, thumbs middle, middle, up, 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 up. Two thumbs up, two thumbs up. A wiggly thumb from Nicole. Middle, middle, up, up, Kathy, middle, up, middle, middle. Great, thank you. All right. I really do love when it happens often, as you all, those of you who have attended. I do have an agenda for meditation, and it almost never is what I want it to be. Like very rarely. Tonight's one of those nights where I was like, ooh, maybe we're going to go in this direction, because I did a meditation Saturday in a group and I was like, ooh, I'm bringing that to this group. No, I didn't. So I love that, because that's just proof that I'm not in charge of this. This moves through all of us and then moves through me. So I'm just curious. I'm curious on a few aspects, but I don't know if I want to ask questions or, yeah, I guess I'll let you guys start. Does anyone want to share, not blow by blow, like what happened each step, but maybe an awareness that you extracted from it, or something interesting that happened that you can't explain or want some help or guidance processing? Right, anyone want to share a takeaway? Oh, Nicole, yeah, go ahead. Here, let me ask you to unmute. Does that help?
Now I'm unmuted. I didn't know what I was doing. It's hard from the phone because the controls are all weird. I really felt that the energy, and I didn't expect to because I'm a skeptic, but I felt like it was like unfolding, like like in the Transformers when they kind of go click, 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 click. It felt like that.
Ooh.
So that was
With,
fun.
within yourself, like in your physical body, or?
Yeah. Like at the
Cool.
end when you were talking about like feeling like the
Um,
energy go through you.
I know you said it's like click, 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 but tell me a
Yeah.
little bit more about that. Even though click, 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 click is
Well, because
clear
I
to
didn't
me.
expect it, but I was like, I think, because I need things to be really obvious or I ignore them, that like I just kind of felt like unfolding, so
So,
that so like if I was all my muscles and everything are always tense, so it was just kind of like in my spine too, like feeling your vertebrae kind of go to,
mm,
so it was like
nice.
very physical is what I'm saying,
Love that.
without my body actually moving.
That sounds like alignment.
Yeah.
Literally. Literally. And
Which which chakra is green?
heart.
Oh, okay. Because when we
It's
opened the
that,
door,
it's
it was
that,
green.
uh-oh. Am I freezing on you guys?
Not on me. It might
Okay,
be me
good.
because I'm just on cell.
Okay. Heart is green, so it's all about giving love, receiving love. It's the frequency of love, we'll put it that way.
Cool. Because when the
Yeah.
door opened, it was green. So that was fun.
Mm. Dark green, light green.
Like,
Cool. That's the heart. That is the color that's associated with the heart chakra, but we don't have to have green coming out of the heart
right.
chakra. Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, normally I'm always like the white light, but this time it was obviously green and I didn't you know, fabricate it.
Mm. Yep. Love it. Love it. And the green light too is like giving love and receiving. It's always both. It's the
Cool.
external and the internal. Hmm. Love it. Thank you. Glad to hear that. Anyone else? Oh, I just thought I saw someone raise their hand, but maybe I think it was my hand. Yeah, it was. It's hysterical. I was like, oh, I saw movement up there. That's me. That's my box. Yeah, Lara, go ahead.
Hi. Um, so I also felt the electricity. Mine felt more like a buzz. And it's interesting how more difficult it is when your eyes are open, even partially. Like I could kind of do it, but man, that's good. That's a good practice.
Mhm.
I have a question along with my experience. When we were talking about the different energies and bringing in the kind of not so favorable and then saying no gently. Um, I felt that and I could do it, but then my mind was in the practical world. I had a friend that popped in my mind that there's just, I love her, but there's just negative, negative, negative. So in practice, does this idea of the energy, does it kind of put a force field on me where it just doesn't bother me anymore? Or like how, what is, or do I just not tend to want to be around her and lovingly, or like, how does it practically translate?
Yeah, great question. I got myself a little stuck there in this, because I understood it energetically, but my brain went to practical too, more so from the perspective of, I hope it's not translating for everyone that we keep what we want and everything else is other, right? Because it's that's not the way the world works, right? Like there's no practical application of that, and it's certainly never a good time to be all for ourselves and stay away. Life is better if we know what to do with energy that's unfavorable. So I also had a moment of struggle of, oh, how is this being received by everyone? How is everyone kind of interpreting it? Which then the memo was, that's not up to you, Deb. So like, be quiet, So I was like, oh, good, right. Um, so on one hand, I had that going on. On the other, what I think is, I'll share what I think, and then I want to hear what you think. It isn't about. This was just about awareness. And it might not be a practical, literal practice, more so an awareness of, oh, there's something about that energy. Maybe you know exactly what it is. Like in your case, I love her, but she could be negative. So it's more of a practice of awareness when something enters your field, to be aware of, oh, hold on, something shifted. I'm not sure if I like that. And that doesn't mean like kick them out. It just means, oh, something entered into my field that I don't want in my field. And when we have the awareness that something's in there, we still might not know who or what it is, but at least the awareness is that we're going to feel something, which is going to kind of alert us, not in like a red light alert, but in a something here is not resonating with me. So for you, Laura, I would say that you don't have to throw your friend away unless you have to throw your friend away. I mean, sometimes that's the option.
I've already
too.
done one of those. I don't want to on this one.
And I think adulthood does that.
Sure.
But it's more of like recognizing, hold on, like when she hits that point for you that you're aware of, like, no, I don't want this. And I think that with awareness, we then become strengthened to say no in some form, meaning literally to them or energetically, like putting up the wall. It depends.
Right.
Does that help?
It doesn't. What's interesting is that I had another example today that totally fits this, and I didn't think of it connecting, but it totally does. Where I drew a card today, and it ended up being 7 of Swords, and I'm reading it. I'm like, this is not me. Like, but it was deceit, lies, all the stuff that in the world that we're experiencing, and it was the first time that I pulled a card that wasn't like exactly on like what I was personally feeling myself. But it was so obvious that it wasn't me, but I'm like, oh wait, there's another energy that's around me right now. And it was weird, but it was like I was aware of it. And then that made me more aware of like, wow, this really is affecting me. So that I think applies to this. So it's kind of interesting that it all kind of came around together here, and now I understand why I pulled that card.
Cool. So what is the takeaway for you, if you had to put it in different words, for you specifically?
I mean, I think continued awareness, like you said, and I mean, just like, I when I like don't think and I just I'm pretty good at picking stuff up, and it's just a reminder to do that more often. So I'm aware because I have the tool, but I need to be in the state to access it, and I need to do that more. So because once I'm there, I really do pick up a lot. So a reminder to be there more.
And when you say, yeah, I love that. But when you say, just for clarity's sake for yourself, but as you're speaking, we're all receiving our own sense of this. When you say, when I'm there, what do you specifically mean?
Just slowed down, not like just not running in the like, oh, work, or stress or whatever. Or, binge watching TV show where my brain, where I'm kind of not, my brain is not in a position to just be, I guess. Like it's either intentionally or circumstantially, it's just spinning with no space.
Yep.
And so having space in my brain.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that makes
Yeah.
sense. I'm kind of just
No.
making it up as I
No, you're not. I mean, the weird, you're calling for the words but you know what you're talking about because I can feel
Yeah.
it. And I think it's so well said. I think now, well, forever, we're always in a time where we all need to really go into what we feel is right based on ourselves, not on anything external. Person, place, thing, media, neighbor, just really now is the time for self-referral. And that doesn't make the external thing that's different from what we feel wrong. It's not a matter of right and wrong. This is a matter of, this is resonating with me. This is not resonating with me. And then deciding accordingly for ourselves. So that's what I'm hearing you basically say. And how do we do that? It's certainly not through distractions. So it's
Right.
certainly
Distraction.
through,
That was the word.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. It's through that stillness. It's through that, that moment of, let me feel how I feel about this versus what anyone else is saying about it, or even if it's our very best friend, right? Or somebody we love and admire is saying this, that might not resonate with us. So now is a time of really inward expansion and inward listening, and then behaving accordingly for yourself, not making anyone else wrong and you right, because that's just going to create more divide. We don't need divide. We just need, that doesn't resonate with me. No, that's just not resonating with me. That's all it is. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Thank you.
in that we find our own peace, right? Because we reside here, this is where we live with ourselves. And then when we're residing in our peace, not peace by making someone or something else right or wrong, because that's really not peaceful either. This is a true peace of, this is how I feel, not even how I think, how I feel about whatever it is. And then in that, you'll find peace. We'll all find peace within the peace of ourselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
For
that whole
everyone?
practical side though is a real thing I need to work on too. Like, okay, but then what? How do I fix it? But no, like,
Well,
I agree.
that's the mind wanting to go, okay, what's the action? But there's not always like a stark answer, like a stock answer for the action, because that'll differ. So you
Right.
can't give yourself the practical answer because you don't know what situation. Maybe that friend that you love is so toxically awful, but you're okay with it because you're like, oh, that's hers and it's not mine. So then what do? Nothing. You're just aware. Another time, maybe they're so toxically of whatever that you say, you know what? I really don't want to hear this right now, or I don't have the capacity to hold it, or you know what I mean? Like the action will differ depending on the day, probably the hour. So maybe
Right.
not have to like totally figure that out in advance because you don't know the situation as
I'm
it
a
arises.
planner. I'm a planner. I get it though. It's
Yeah.
definitely something I need to work on. But thank you very much.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Tom, go ahead.
Yeah. when you were doing about the light, and about my road and going on, it went right across the street, right across the state to Hillsborough to my brother. I was like, yeah, that's where the light is. So,
Hmm.
it just makes me think like maybe, relocating there,
Hmm.
he's like, yeah, you can do both. He said that one time ago. He said, do both, I'm like, mm.
So
And
did the
then,
light, you mean the light from your heart went to him?
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
okay, got it.
yeah, yeah.
And then
So,
you're thinking to yourself, what does that mean? And you're saying, oh, maybe I move closer.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Like this summer, they wanted me basically to move right near them when I was having all my health issues, and but now that I'm doing better, I'm like, yeah, no, but I don't know.
Mhm.
Every time I'm there in that, it just feels like home. Now I'm from Rockland County. I'm not, but it just feels like home.
When you're
Yeah.
closer to your brother.
Yeah,
Mhm. So
definitely.
you're weighing the decision whether to move or stay where you are
Yes.
in
Yeah.
general. Yeah. So you're
Yeah.
still trying to make sense of that. Or so if you don't know the answer, it could be that you just don't know the answer tonight. And
Yeah.
it's starting to reveal itself to you slowly but surely.
And oddly enough, my friend Roy popped in, and he popped in Omega, and he hasn't popped in 26 years. So it's very odd. I think, I don't know, maybe he just wants me to go out and dance. I haven't danced probably in about that long. It's something he wants that it's like twice. I'm like, what? I'm like, what's going on?
Wow. So then when that happens, when someone pops in that's kind of unusual that pops into our brain, alive or deceased, doesn't matter. If we're not sure, like, wow, that's weird. Why I wonder why they're showing up. Something that might be helpful to ask yourself is um like ask yourself, what is the aspect? Like what do they represent to you that is showing up in your field? So say Roy is, well, you're saying he's showing you to dance, or is he
To
like
go
very,
out and have a good time. Well, he passed away in 96. So
so
yeah,
yeah, so
20.
I would
Yeah,
look at like when this happens, like someone kind of out of the blue, not your typical people that you like think of as far as
yeah,
past. And it could be with alive people that you haven't seen in 100 years, or it could be deceased people. But I would then look at, ooh, what do they remind me of? And if they remind you of fun and lightheartedness, I
yeah,
would say, oh, that means your energy field is vibrating with lightheartedness and fun, or needs it. If someone was very peaceful and contemplative, then I would say, oh, I need to be peaceful, calm, and kind of think more. So you kind of want to look at the energy that the people we know have, because when they show up in our field, it's like, oh, I might need a little bit more of that. Does that make sense?
yes, yes,
That's just a helpful,
yes,
might not always be the case, like it might not always resonate, but that's a helpful thing that I go, what aspect do they represent within myself that is needed or to do more of? Thank you, Thomas.
thank you.
Yeah, Ken, go ahead.
I just want to say it's easy when you're meditating and you're in the spiritual world and you build this nice, beautiful spirit, green, pink, whatever color cocoon around you, and you let go through all the negative because it just doesn't matter in the spirit world. And you keep the positive things in the spirit world, and you live in that environment, especially when you meditate like we did. But when you're in the physical world, it's much more difficult to let things just go by. And at some point, you do react to things that are wrong, whatever they are to you. Wrong, is it, do you react to it, or do you just go, oh, well, I'll just sit here in my light and let these things that are wrong go on. At some point, it's not that easy in the physical world to do it. Even if somebody cuts you off on the road, but even more serious things,
Mm-hmm.
things that people might do or things that might be going on. At some point you feel like you have to react, because if you don't, then you're what's the word? You're not serving yourself right. I'm using that word right.
Yeah, no, I get it.
You have morals and things in your life that you believe, and when you don't react to the stuff and just let it go, it becomes more difficult to try and find that point of when do you and when do you not.
Yeah, and that's yeah, a great point. I would, how I'm like hung up on words. I would change the word. No, I'm not telling you to change the word. I'm saying I change the word in my mind of like, instead of react, because I know how I can react to something versus how I can respond to something. So how we respond to something that doesn't resonate with us, as long as it's so hard. What we want to get away from is making something right or wrong, or making someone right or wrong. And because that's external referencing versus internal referencing, what feels right to me and how do I need to respond to what I'm seeing that's in alignment with who I am. And when we behave that way, if we can behave that way, because I don't think we can all do it all the time, we are then a tool of help or impact versus someone who's contributing to more chaos. Because even a peaceful reactor is violent. But a peaceful responder is responding out of peace. Does that make sense to everyone? I mean, it's a nuancy thing. But I think we need to get away from the concept of so and so or such and such is wrong. Not to say that some behaviors are wrong. If we saw someone getting beaten in the street, no one would be like, oh, that's okay, that's not wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, how do I want to respond from my own true self? What does that look like? Does that make sense? Versus making someone wrong for whatever they're doing, thinking, feeling, behaving, seeing, perceiving. Because now, once we've made them wrong, now we're wrong too. And this is tough. And I'll share this story. I think I've shared it before. I don't think I've shared it in, maybe I have, I don't know. But I go back to, this is a very simplified story, and nobody like was hurt or harmed. But years ago during my yoga teacher training, there was 15 people in a room yoga training, and we're in a small room all weekend long, and we do everything in this room, right? We do our workshop, we listen to the lectures, we do the poses, we also eat lunch. So everything is in this kind of small space. And one day, in yoga teacher training, everyone's like love and light and like, peace and how can we help each other, and everything's so great, you're great, everybody's great, right? And we're having lunch one day, and you start getting close to these people, but someone opened up and had a tuna fish sandwich. And we are in a small space that is warm, and it smells like terrible tuna fish. And I, in this loving light inside myself, I was like, I'm going to vomit. And I started getting a reaction within myself. Nobody knew. I didn't do it externally, but I remember feeling viscerally aggravated. Like, how can someone have tuna fish? This is so silly, right? It's a true story. How can someone have tuna fish in this small space that we have to stay in all day? Because now the tuna fish smell is going to be in our class all day. And I don't like the tuna fish smell. I think we kind of collectively know that there are certain scents of food, right? So I'm annoyed, I'm triggered, but I'm also fighting my own trigger because I'm like, come on, Deb, love and light. Oh my God, let it go. It's your problem. You're an ass. You know, I'm doing that whole conflict, but I'm annoyed because I'm feeling nauseous in the small studio, knowing that I've got 7 more hours in the studio with tuna fish. So, and nobody would know a thing. I'm sitting there polite as can be, but violent, like furious inside. So I then was like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. And I had an essential oil with me, and I put the oil in my hands, I put it on my chest, and I'm inhaling the oil, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's good. That's good. I feel better. And 5 minutes after I put the oil on, the woman with the tuna fish blows up and said, who just put oil on? I get migraine headaches. We can't have essential oils. Who did that? Who did that? And in that moment, I saw that I was just as wrong and ignorant to sense, just as I was annoyed, like, how could you not think of everyone else with your tuna fish? All of a sudden, how could I not think of everyone else with my rose oil or whatever oil it was? I did the exact same thing. And here I thought I was right. And it is something that I go back to every time I think I'm right. I have to remember, wait a minute, we don't have all the story. And of course it was her and I hated her tuna fish. She hated my rose oil. So I use that often as that was me reacting. And out of my reaction, I thought I solved it, but I didn't solve it. I solved it for my own self. So sometimes we have to look at things in a way of not right and wrong, that my peaceful response of putting on oil actually was the exact same thing she was doing to me. Does that make sense to everyone? The irony is insane. And I think that happens all the time. And this was an amazing example, instant. And it was her and I. It wasn't even like some other person in the group was having a response. I was like, oh my God, this is pretty cool. So I use that as just an awareness piece. And of course, that doesn't fit for like, if we're seeing someone get hurt in the street or someone, you know, I mean, there's layers to this, but I'm using this story as just an awareness point of sometimes we think we're doing the right thing because we think it's the right thing. And it might be the right thing for us, but it's not the right thing for the whole. And that doesn't mean I felt better with my rose oil, but I didn't make it better for everybody. And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm just saying we're the same person differently. Does that make sense to everyone? So it's the tuna fish and the rose oil story. So take that where you may, especially in these times. These are especially in the well, I think globally, but United States, we're in some tough times right now. We're in some weird, and you all know me, we don't talk politics in here. It's kind of the elephant in the room tonight of like, where are we at? And we're all different. Everyone in here, we all have very different political views, which I love so much because we are all coming from different perspectives and we honor each other's. And now is the time, I think, to really start self-referring of what feels right to you and how do you respond accordingly, but knowing that doesn't make you right. If that makes sense. So Sherry, go ahead. It went on and on, droned on and on.
First of all, that should be a Seinfeld episode. That's just a Seinfeld episode. But it's actually really, really helpful. Not what I raised my hand about, but in reflecting on that, well, I'll tell you my question, but in reflecting on that, what would have been because we're having these times, would it have been the right thing to say, because you were going to be nauseous for the whole day, and tuna fish is gross and you shouldn't do it, and I would, but would you call her aside and say, your tuna fish is really bothering me? I know that's a sandwich you brought, but can you go outside? Like, what do you do in those situations? Those are they're really hard, and like hard to know what to say when it's a line. You don't want to offend someone, you don't want, but yet you were really impacted by it. So you could have left, but your option was not to leave the retreat or leave the room.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean,
you just
hindsight,
stuck
I
with
don't
the
know. I don't know the answer because what I do know is what I did do incorrectly was make the assumption
Uh-huh.
that my response, I didn't even realize that my response was the exact same thing. So
I love that story though for that.
yeah, like, and I mean, it was wild. I told it somewhere and I forgot she was in the audience. It's a whole thing. I told that story somewhere else and then she was there and she was like, oh my God, because I never even took the whole story to her. I was just like, okay, universe, well played, well done, got the memo, so I don't know. I mean, I'm not the personality that would go up to someone and say, hey, would you mind not bringing tuna fish? I wouldn't say that to somebody in that case. But
Right.
maybe I should have, because she was wonderful at saying, oh my God, who put oil on? I shrank to this big. And I wanted to be like,
It
if you
is
didn't have
impressive.
fucking tuna fish, I wouldn't have the oil. But I didn't do that. I didn't. I stayed in the zone of the universe was trying to, well done. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, because I also don't think it's because I'm offended by tuna fish that no one should be allowed to have tuna fish. Do you know what I mean? I don't think I'm not in that way either. If I had a like an allergic reaction, yeah, then I would have to say something. If it was like peanut butter, then I'd have to say something. But
Right.
I don't know the answer. I think more is that
Thinking
was-
that you could respond that I think it's a beautiful story. What you thought was right was the trigger to her that was triggering you.
yes.
Yeah.
And that we have to just think that sometimes or be aware of that. Because I was righteous. Who the hell would do this? And then I wound up doing the exact same thing to her.
Well, I'll never forget it. So thanks for telling it. My question to you is, this has never happened to me before, but when I opened my door, I had rainbows everywhere, and rainbows never went away. There were rainbows all over me. And all I could think of was Jen, and she's not here tonight. But she came to me right away, and it was, and I don't know, then I started to go into why you're seeing rainbows, and I just stopped. Because I was like, don't go there. I mean, she came to me. So maybe it was Emma, but she's not here, but maybe I was thinking of her. And I do know that I was going through Facebook because I had not been going on, and then I saw belatedly the anniversary picture of Emma, and made me think about, so of course the rational me was trying to go on stories, so I stopped the story, but I just really thought it was cool. I felt rainbows everywhere.
Oh,
and
I
it was
love
the
that.
coolest feeling.
Yeah, and then it's funny, at one point Jen popped in my head where I'm like, I didn't see Jen on here tonight. Is she on here? maybe I didn't see her. Like my mind wandered. I don't remember what part, but my mind wandered tonight to Jen too. So that's interesting that you're saying that. Yours too, Christine? Oh my God. Wow. We'll have to
That's really
let her
weird.
know. That is weird because it just popped in and I'm like, was she on? I don't remember seeing her. I scanned every box. Did I miss her? I had this whole big long thought about Jen. So yeah, rainbow, I mean, seeing the rainbows is totally a thing when it's a thing. But you've never had that before, you're saying.
Never, never.
Interesting. Very cool. Very cool. You're feeling all the vibrations. All the vibrations. I'm just looking at the time. I know we went a little over. We haven't been going over. We've been pretty good at stopping at 9:30. It's the only event I'm good at stopping at the right time. And Deb, I just noticed that you're there, so welcome. I'm glad you're here. Let's see, next Monday, not tomorrow, but the following Monday. So we still have another time to remind you. We have grief group for those that are members. Grief group meets next Monday, and grief group is about processing grief, but it could be grief over the death of a loved one. It could be grief over the loss of a former identity, the loss of a job, a loss of a relationship. It's grief in a big sense, not just a grieving the loss of a death through a death. What else do I have coming up? What else do we have? I think that's it. I mentioned this morning to those who went to membership chat, which we had a great conversation about past life regressions. Sheila, were you ever at the center when Carol did the past life regressions? Were you there?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, we were talking about that this morning in our membership chat and how profound that was. It's pretty wild. But I mentioned this morning that on November 30th, I'm releasing that New Year's videos that I do that you can kind of say, hey, what do you see for me career-wise or relationship-wise or general-wise in 2025? And I record New Year, like a 8 to 10 minute video on that. So those are going to be released first to members. And then I'm only doing 25 of them. And then I'm stopping at 25, and then I'll see how I feel throughout the month of December. So be on the lookout for an email on that for all of you. And then once I mention it to members, I'll wait a couple days and then mention it to people on the mailing list and all that. And then I think that's it. I feel like I'm just fried from today.
You said that if we emailed you, you would put in the portal a way to do your own you wouldn't work with you to get your primordial sound, but there'd be a class or a little class.
Yeah, so
Oh,
anyone,
okay.
for those of you who attend morning meditation, well, you don't have to attend morning meditation, but I have a class on my like online academy, Teachable, that's all about primordial sound mantra meditation. But if anyone wants to take the class and just learn a little bit more about mantra meditation, then I'll open the class for you for free to see the content. It won't include your personal mantra. That would be a separate fee to do that because I have to calculate it and then I have to record it and it's time consuming. So, but if you want to learn more about like the whole science behind mantra meditation, why we do it, what happens, how you do it, how to practice, just send me an email and then I will open that course for you for free so you can learn all the things you want. If you want to do the mantra, great, but you don't have to do the mantra. And if you want to do a mantra, that would be a separate fee, but you don't have to do the mantra. That's what you're talking about, Sherry? Okay, yeah. So Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. to 6:20, we lead a morning meditation, which is into silence. So we did a lot of silence tonight though. And I thought, ooh, they're getting primed for this silent meditation a lot lately. So you guys are ready for it. But anyone who wants to join that, just send me an email too, and I'll send you the Zoom codes to attend that. And any other questions, you can email me. You know how to find me. I'm starting to lose my ability to put sentences together. So I'm seeing everybody's pets on their laps between Jill and Jay. And I thought I saw another one a moment ago. Maybe they logged off. So everyone have a great night, a great week. I will see you next Sunday. And then don't forget to take yourselves off of mute to say goodbye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Everyone.
Good night. Thanks, Deb.
Night. Thanks, Deb.
Yeah.
Thank
This
you.
Today, Deb.
Good night. Good night.
Hey, read my text.
Good night.
I will. I
Yeah.
will.
Make sure you read it.
Okay.
Love you. Thank you
Love
again.
you. Of course.
Have a good one.
Sheila, good to see